Hi, as you all probably know, my name is Jill, and this is my presentation for self-management and self-direction. I love being sequential, but for the purpose of this presentation, I will be combining steps 1 and 2 into one explanation of the different learning experiences, which will then be followed by steps 3, 4, and 5. Okay, let's go. Learning experience number 1, learning practical skills. My first learning experience has been in learning to weld and doing some of the more hands-on things in electrical class, like mounting boxes and doing some wiring, especially in learning to weld though. It has been an up and down process for me because before the class began, I was excited to be taking a welding class as part of this program, as it has always been something I've wanted to try. I was so pumped on the first day of class, but after the first class of trying to cut those steel pieces, I was dejected and down on myself. The pieces were wonky and looked like garbage, and it was just really hot and frustrating and altogether hateful. Welding wasn't as easy as it looked, and I was dreading the next class. Thankfully though, our teacher Vic is a really awesome teacher, and his patience and encouragement in conjunction with his sheer enthusiasm for welding has helped me engage more in the class and just try to enjoy the process instead of thinking about how good I'm actually doing it. Learning experience 2, learning self-care. The presentation on self-care made me think about ways in which I can support myself better when school and life are stretching me thin. When the lady, whose name escapes me, presented the topic of self-care to our class and talked about a phrase or word that you say to yourself, the phrase that came to my mind was, "Head up, young person." It's actually a line from a movie, Object of My Affection, that has really stuck with me over the years, and it's one I've used in the past to encourage others and at times myself. Self-care for me is extending to myself the grace and understanding I naturally tend to extend to others but deny myself. It's being able to encourage myself and pick myself up when I fall short of my idea of what I should be able to do, and instead redirect that critical mental chatter into constructive, positive self-reassurance that challenges the negative self-talk statements. In effect, it's being able to give myself a pep talk. Head up, young person. I also feel like part of self-care is continuously challenging yourself to improve, to strive to develop mental toughness, which, if you commit to that as a lifestyle, helps you sharpen yourself like iron sharpens iron. Developing mental toughness helps in so many areas of life that I feel that it is a worthwhile pursuit to strive for excellence. Learning experience 3, learning about myself. The classes where we did the Clifton Strengths and the other learning preference intelligence tests confirmed some things I already knew about myself already, but I also learned some things too. My Clifton Strengths results were input, strategic, learner, intellection, and connectedness. 4 out of the 5 of those fall into strategic thinking domain of the Clifton Strengths, with the last one, connectedness, being from the relationship building domain. For the VARC learning preferences, the kinesthetic, visual, and read and write scores were all within 1 mark of each other, with oral being the 4th. I also learned from these assessments that I am known as a multimodal learner. I am able to learn from doing things myself, watching someone do it, reading in a book how to do it, and from hearing someone explain how to do something. The Gardner's multiple intelligence made me laugh because my top number was for musical intelligence. Like, how the hell is that going to help me in the electrical field? The second and third intelligences were in language and the social areas. These last 2 weren't really all that surprising to me because I like words and I like people. How could or did you have the opportunity to apply what you learned during self-management and self-direction? While participating in the role of instructor in the 21 Toys activity, I felt I started off communicating quite well, but as the task went on and my partner was struggling to understand what I meant, I felt frustrated and wanted to take the blindfold off and call it quits. It made me see that when communication breaks down, I am more prone to just say, forget it, and walk away. In this task, anyway. This understanding of myself made me realize that I need to persevere more in communication, even when the other person isn't getting it. In the workplace, I am sure that this will come in handy. Where are you going to apply what you have learned during our class to the next 8 weeks of your program? In the next block of classes coming up, I am anticipating that the learning curve is going to be extremely steep and possibly challenging to handle, with a large amount of new concepts and ideas to absorb. During the part of the lecture on study skills, I was intrigued by the Cornell method of note-taking, as I had not heard of it before, and it actually seems like a very effective way to take notes for technical topics like the ones we will begin in July. Also, the WIN method is another technique I will try out in our electrical theory class, as I expect there will be quite a few formulas to learn. How could you apply what you have learned during our class in your job placement? Going forward, I will take the nuggets of wisdom and knowledge that I have gleaned from this class, along with the learning experience I have had so far, and will apply it in my placement and down the road my future apprenticeship. From the learning style assessments, I know that I am strong in being able to learn by watching, learn by doing it myself, and learn by hearing someone explain how to do it. These strengths will benefit me greatly when learning the practical side of electrical, as it will hopefully enable me to quickly learn and integrate the techniques that I will be taught on the job. One challenge I may face on the job is tempering my tendency to be a perfectionist and giving myself the room to learn and develop my skill without being hypercritical of myself like I usually am. This is where the self-care lessons will come into play on the job. They have increased my self-awareness in that area, which makes it easier to begin to dismantle those old mental habits. In conclusion, I hope you enjoyed my presentation, and I thank you for listening. Have a great day.